A man wrongfully convicted, now free after spending 30 years behind bars in a Miami-Dade prison. CBS 4 anchor Kendis Gibson spoke with him Thursday. Here's more from that interview with Thomas Reynard James.
First night inside your mama's house last night in 32 years?
Yes.
Did you sleep?
At some point I did finally go to sleep. I did. But I was up bright and early this morning.
You were up bright and early?
Bright and early.
What was it like waking up in a house after 32 years?
One of the most awesome feelings was waking up in a bed, a real bed, like my bed, not a bunk. You know, able to roll over without having to worry about falling out of the bed. I flipped over, rolled over a couple of times, you know, spreading my arms.
Did you kind of pinch yourself? Can you believe that this is real?
Yeah, I definitely believe it because I never stopped believing that it wouldn't happen. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you first got out of jail. You wanted some some comfort food.
Yeah.
How was that?
That was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
Who's the first person you hugged when you came out?
My mother.
Your mama.
Yeah.
What was that like?
For the first time, being able to hug her and not be in prison inside of a prison visiting park was beautiful. That was a warm feeling. That was a real hug.
Who got more choked up, you think?
She did. Yeah.
Did you think this day would come?
Yeah.
Why? And Mama's over her shoulder nodding her head yes.
Because the truth, I always felt the truth would eventually come out. And I was going to force it out. And that's why I would never give up. I would never let up. I kept the pressure on. Because what I mean by pressure is that I told my story to everybody.
Anybody would listen.
If you had ears, I told it to you.
Yeah.
I went to correction officers, people that I worked around, fellow inmates.
People get tired of hearing you say, like, I'm innocent, I'm innocent.
Some of them probably did, but they were sympathetic, probably, and just didn't tell me. Because they always ask questions. Yeah. So it was engaging. It was like, tell me more, because they had questions. How could they, if this, you got all this, then why you in prison? How did they convict you? You know, stuff like that. You got fingerprints, they got 9 prints, and it's not yours. How did they convict you? You know, stuff like that. So
how did they convict you?
The simple truth would be is that nobody done what they were supposed to do. Nobody upheld their oath, meaning the police, meaning the prosecutor, and even the jury, because they didn't compel the state to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Because number one, you can never prove that an innocent person is guilty. That's number one. You can never prove that a person who's actually innocent is guilty. It's impossible.
But they had, that's in essence
they
what?
Found me guilty. The language switched only at that point in the process. They allowed to find you guilty.
Like they locked you up on the day of the crime, right?
No, they locked me up, but they charged me with like 6-7 months after the crime.
6-7 months after the crime.
Right.
You were just minding your own business and police came?
No. You're probably gonna be shocked to learn this, but if the truth be told, I have to tell it, because that's the only way it's gonna come out, and that is, to this day, I have never spoken to a police about this crime. To this day, I have never been questioned by the Metro-Dade Police Department. I got arrested for another charge, which I got out and didn't report to court. I got arrested for failure to appear. And it was at that point in the courtroom, they charged me with the murder. And I guess, like they said, the rest was history.
And from that moment, obviously you knew you were innocent, but
right.
are you believing that the system is, that it can happen like this? You're a 23-year-old kid.
At that time, I actually felt that the system, I actually believed in the criminal justice system at that time. Because I had never been charged with something I didn't do. nobody I knew had ever been charged with something they didn't do. So when they first told me that in the courtroom, I actually thought that they had me mixed up with one of the other people that was coming in front of the judge that day. And they took me downstairs, they fingerprinted me, gave me the charge, added the charges, gave me a new A form, and you know, it was a whirlwind from there. Shortly thereafter, a couple of months later, that was around, I want to say around like August or something like that, I got indicted.
Yeah.
In January, I was going to trial. January, I was going to trial. My first degree murder trial lasted like 2.5 days. They had 9 sets of fingerprints. Not one of them belonged to me, and they still ain't said who fingerprints they are.
But they had one person that said in a lineup.
Well, in the lineup, they had 2 people that actually identified me.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with that. The second person that identified me, he actually had picked somebody else's picture first, and he was compelled to repick.
Wow.
However, when the day of trial, he didn't identify me in the courtroom. He looked at me, the live me, and didn't pick me.
How did you, I mean, for 32 years, how did you keep the faith?
Well, the faith, I toyed with that at times.
I'm not talking religion or spirituality.
Right, no, I'm saying the faith is, in that regards, then I never lost that. When it comes to my situation only, no, I never lost faith in that because I knew I was innocent. And I wasn't gonna stop until I was either free or dead.
Did you think, I mean, I know you kept the faith, you knew you were innocent, but after 32 years, I would personally think, this is it. This is gonna be my life. You didn't think that?
No, I couldn't afford to think that. If I thought that, then that means all the people who did believe in me at some point, as well as I knew the truth, then I would be accepting that. And that's totally unacceptable for me, to just sit here and accept the fact that somebody said that I've done something, especially taking another human being's life, and just accept it. I couldn't do that.
At what point did you know that you were going to be a free man? That the process?
Oh, this process. I found out Tuesday evening.
Of this week?
Yeah. That's when I learned that I was getting out.
You've had a hell of a week.
Yeah, I just found out Tuesday evening, and Wednesday morning, which was yesterday, I was released. So, yeah, I just found out.
Did you sleep Tuesday night?
Yeah, I eventually did go to sleep. Most people find it hard that I slept, but it was, for once, I was truly at peace because this is what I had been waiting on. I knew this day was coming. So for me, it was like, finally, I could take my shoes off. The war, the fight, the battle is pretty much, it's over, you know. Like they say, the fat lady has sung, so to speak. So that night I did sleep. It was late because I was telling people in the dorm and the officers, and it was like, you know, the little minimum commissary stuff I had, I gave it to guys that didn't have anything. And everybody was like pretty happy, so they finally let me go to sleep.
Do you ever think, what if it was a death penalty case?
You might not believe me, but I remember at one point I actually wished they gave me the death penalty. Early on, I wish they gave me the death penalty, and not because I'm insane or anything like that, where I wish death, but I knew early on that I had to get my case out there to the media, because that's why the system had failed me. So the only other recourse I had was the media. And I had already embarked on that journey. And the reason I wished for the death penalty, because it would have been sensationalized.
Brought it to the...
And the people who know that I'm innocent would have came forward.
Yeah. Are you a forgiving person?
Of course.
Do you forgive the one witness that pointed you out in the lineup?
I've been there on that. That was done almost immediately, because I didn't think when somebody does something and it's unintentional, it's unintentional. To me, that was things that was said to her that she might have had doubt all along, but when the people who you trust, the professionals, i.e. the police, are saying things to let you know that they're satisfied with the photo that you've chosen, that's a secondary confirmation, and it's kind of hard to change that.
So you forgive her? Yeah,
and so I knew that she didn't do it, like intentionally.
Do you forgive the prosecutors?
Yeah, I actually forgive everybody, because if I don't forgive somebody for what they've done, they don't know this. So it only hurts me, because this is like a cancer. It festers inside of me, and I'm the only one carrying it. They living their life.
32 years, man. Do you feel robbed?
No, I don't feel robbed, but I know I took a serious loss.
What were your aspirations?
At that time, I wanted to, when I actually had started, like, I wanted a chain of car washes and stuff like that. But I had started because I had the first one, and I wanted to get into investing. I was looking at this company called Indian River Investments, and it was my intentions to, start putting money. Yeah.
I assume you wanted to get married. I assume you wanted to have kids. You wanted to have a normal life.
Right. And it wasn't because it was the American dream. It was because it was my dreams.
And that dream was dashed.
Right.
For 32 years.
Yeah. I was allowed to, I was forced to live longer in prison than I was allowed to live as a free man. I lived 23 years on the street, and I survived 32 years in prison. So.
That puts it in the context right there.
Right.
Y'all gonna sue, right?
I have to get with my attorneys and the rest of my legal team and advisors, and if that's an avenue that we can take, then yeah.
Would that help ease?
Well, what it will serve to do is aid my transition back into society. It will also assist me in doing some of the dreams that I have now, since I lost the first dreams. I'm living the second dream right now, and then there's the third leg of the dreams, and that's
what are your dreams?
That is to help people, and I can help people by creating jobs, establishing companies, big companies, because I have ideas that I know will work, and it'll create a lot of jobs. And there's some organizations that I definitely want to create, like nonprofit stuff, to aid different causes that's dear to me.
Okay. Have you spoken to the McKinnon family at all?
No, I haven't.
Have they reached out?
At this point, no.
What do you think when you think of them?
Well, what I think is a tragedy, because it's a travesty that they lost a relative. They lost their father, their uncle, their immediate families. They lost a father, lost a husband, lost a brother, lost a son. So, I mean, I'm always feel for that.
You lost your livelihood.
But I lost that, but still breathing. They lost a family member that I got a chance to hug my mother. They'll never get a chance to hug their father. So I feel for them.
You have such a positive attitude about it. A lesser man would have come out angry, I think.
Yeah, I can't. That's an emotion that's normal. People who treat it like it's a demon or something abnormal, but everybody has anger. It's like just being happy, being sad. It's a normal emotion. It's how you let it control you, and if you let it be the dominant thought or the dominant feeling, those are the people that's gonna convert and grow into like a rage, and that's what create other problems. So
I was looking up what was happening when you went to prison in 1991.
Yeah.
The Rodney King beating was just 3 days before we went to prison. The Marlins did not exist.
Right.
Gulf War just ended the week before.
Right.
Do the Bartman was a song by Bart Simpson that was #1 song in the UK.
Yeah.
It was like that really kind of illustrated what a different time that was. Yeah. Did time freeze for you in prison?
I knew that this day was coming, so I forever tried to prepare as much as I could. So when this did happen, not that it wouldn't be a shock or something wouldn't catch me, but that it wouldn't be a true cultural shock. So I try to stay abreast. I talk to people who just left the street. When they come in, I tell them about my case, and then I investigate. I try to find out about the streets, how people from different cities and different towns, different counties, on what's going on in their areas. I ordered popular science and popular mechanics. I read anything current that I can get my hands on. I just tried to stay as current as possible, and I was fortunate enough to have people that would accept my call anytime I call. So they kept me abreast of a lot.
So you kept up? For the
pretty much.
As much as you could?
Right.
I was also curious about, because so much has changed at that time. You know, the iPhone.
Yeah.
Have you got one yet?
Not yet, but I am getting one today, and it won't be an iPhone. It will actually be a F3.
Okay.
And that's
but smartphones.
Right.
That's going to take it's a lot of getting used to for me.
Yeah. I learned some things because in prison now they allow us to have a tablet.
Okay.
It's not the same, but it puts you in an area.
Yeah.
And we had the tablets, touch screens, stuff like this. And so I'm familiar with a lot of that, a lot of the functions, and the little symbols and how certain things work.
But so much is different. Like we have GPS now as opposed to maps,
right?
Compared to when you went in. The internet is now flourishing. Right. Emails and internet. I know you had access to some of that.
We actually have emails in prison.
Yeah, but on the outside world, that did not exist when you were there.
Right.
A lot has changed.
Yeah, a lot has changed.
What do you think is the most mind-boggling thing for you since being out that you're just like, what?
Well, I haven't really had a chance to see anything because it was eat and then here. So I haven't really got a chance to go out yet and see even the neighborhood. Because actually, when I was a little boy, we stayed a couple of blocks from here. And I haven't even seen this neighborhood yet. So I'm gonna be doing that.
You saw Miami Beach. You drove by downtown. How different does that look?
Oh man, very different. I seen the high rises. I mean, just riding, you got all these different cars, different. It was cars passing by. I had no idea what that was. Just shot past us. But of course.
I mean, the cars now have Bluetooth in it. When you were.
Don't tell nobody, but I was scared to ask, hey, what was that? So I just stopped and didn't ask. Not
what
yet,
was that? You meaning the car?
The cars there.
Yeah.
Cars and trucks, it was flying past us. And like I said, I had no idea what that was, just went by. But I will, fairly soon I know about pretty much everything.
Do you feel like you landed from a different planet Like when you were driving around yesterday and you,
not really.
they're a different world. They're a different time.
In that sense, what I would say is, I just came back from a different planet. Because that's a totally different world. This right here, it's been some changes. But like I say, I was aware of a lot of it. I got newspapers, so they put pictures in there. I always ask guys what this is in the background, stuff like that. Things that other people didn't do to try to stay abreast. But that world in there, nothing can prepare you for that. I was somewhat prepared for this, but nothing can prepare you for that.
For prison.
Yeah, that society.
Yeah. What life event took place in the outside world that you were like, wow, I wish I was outside to be able to see, or good or bad, to see or experience that?
Well, the bad I really wouldn't want to experience, especially like the 9/11. Back then, well, a while back, you know, of course, 9/11, that thing like kind of blew me away. And one of the most current negative things is this thing with Ukraine. For the life of me, I can't understand certain things. In the good sense, I'm still uncertain because I haven't like seen a lot of stuff, but I really couldn't say things that really like caught my attention. Like, oh man. With the except I want to try this Popeye chicken sandwich. I heard so much about that. Now that's
You heard about the Popeye chicken sandwich,
yeah,
and you've been craving it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that.
And they didn't get you one yet?
No, I'm gonna get one.
What is it about their sandwich that you heard that just made you like?
Well, it's when I saw on the news that people were actually like fighting over the sandwich, this chicken sandwich. And I'm like, well, I got to have me one of them.
That was one of the things that made you want to be outside.
And then I'm hearing that, you know, because, you know, people are calling, I'm asking, hey, is this sandwich really that good? And I'm being told that, man, they have like concert lines waiting for this sandwich. I'm like, just for the sandwich. So I was like, man, it's good. It's all that. So I wanted one yesterday, but I didn't say anything. I just
you didn't say anything. You better be shy.
Yeah. I ain't got chicken.
You act like you've been here before.
I want a specific chicken, but this one.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, and the historical moments. I mean, you had a black president. We had a black president.
Historically, Barack Obama. Yes.
And a black.
Historically,
the vice president.
Black vice president and a female.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. So
a lot has changed in those times.
Yeah.
Man, so what besides the Popeye sandwich, what do you want to taste? What do you want to do? What do you, in like your first, like this is your first week, what do you want to do?
Well, I want to see, I want to go on tour. I want to ride the train. What's this train? Not the Tri-Rail, it's another train.
The Bright Line?
Bright Line.
You want to try the Bright Line?
Yeah, I want to try the Bright Line. Yeah, I want to try that. I'm gonna try it. It's a lot of stuff that it's laying in the back of my mind that I'm gonna do, but it's not at the forefront. It's so deeply suppressed because of things that I got to do. It becomes that what I want to do is secondary. It's things that I have to do that's priority, and that's like getting all my stuff in order, and that's gonna be like the first week or two. Driver license, Social Security, birth certificate. You know, I gotta get all this stuff lined up, prepare myself to become gainfully employed. So I gotta get all that in order to get to that point. So it's like steps and levels. Yeah. And I've been doing it and plotting it and planning it for so long till by the time I get to some of those things I want to do might have changed. Because in the course of doing some of this other stuff, I might have got a chance to experience some of that. So I get to the ones.
Quite a to-do list.
Yeah.
and on top of that, there's Popeyes and the bright light.
Yeah.
Did you have a smile on your face as you went to bed last night?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I had a smile when I woke up too. It was a wonderful feeling, man. It was a wonderful feeling. And the first voice I heard this morning was hers. So.
What did she say? Get out of bed, or?
No. She actually, I don't remember exactly what she said.
Referring to your mom.
Yeah, referring to my mother. But she said something. I just heard her voice, and I was.
How did that sound?
It was beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. It was like a. How can I say? What would be like an unquenchable thirst just got satisfied or something, because it was like, this real. Because I hear this lady's voice. So if I was waking up, I know I wasn't dreaming, because she was standing at the door. So
you knew you weren't in prison.
Yeah, I saw her. Yeah, so I knew that this was real.
I still think it's amazing that you got locked up for 32 years based on that little amount of evidence. No evidence, really.
Really
mistaken identity.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, saying that's can happen.
Yeah, it is. And unfortunately, it happens more often than we think. And that's one of the, most people try to cure the problem. I'm interested in preventing the problem. So if I get in front of it, I never have to worry about being behind it. So I'm one of the organizations that I'm going to create. We'll be dealing with it from the front. Like they say, from the Rudy to the Tootie, we'll be starting at the root with the source of the problem. Because the people that operate in the system, and I feel one of the most important people is the everyday citizens in society, because they are the ones that makes the decisions. That's who determine whether you're innocent or guilty. So I think that I need to educate and enlighten them on several things, on some things, so that they can ensure that the state attorney and members of his team uphold their oath of office by actually proving a person guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Because there were plenty of doubts in your case.
Exactly. So by law, if you had a single doubt, you're supposed to find that person not guilty. But the jury don't understand that yet, not yet. But everybody will understand it before it's over.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Thanks for watching our interview with Thomas Reynard James, a man set free 3 decades after being wrongly convicted of a killing. This story doesn't stop here. Go to cbsmiami.com for more of the interview and for updates on the story.